Tzvetan Todorov is a Bulgarian-French historian, philosopher, literary critic, sociologist and essayist. He is the author of many books and essays, which have a significant influence in anthropology, sociology, semiotics, literary theory, thought history and culture theory. He was married to Nancy Huston, with whom he has 2 children. Publications: Todorov has published a total of 21 books, including The Poetics of Prose, Introduction to Poetics, The Conquest of America, Mikhail Bakhtin, The Dialogical Principle, Facing the Extreme, Moral Life in the Concentration Camps, On Human Diversity, Hope and Memory, and Imperfect Garden, The Legacy of Humanism. Todorov's historical interests have focused on such crucial issues as the conquest of the Americas and the Nazi and Stalinist concentration camps. Career: Todorov has been a visiting professor at several universities, including Harvard, Yale, Columbia and the University of California, Berkeley. Awards: Todorov's honors include the CNRS Bronze Medal, the Charles La Copyright Varquet Prize of the Académie Copyright des Sciences Morales et Politiques and the first Magian Prize of the Académie Copyright Sectionnaires and the Prince of Asturias Award for Social Sciences. He also is an officer of the Ordre des Arts et des Lettres. Prince of Asturias Award for Social Sciences. In 2015 he was awarded the Wayne C. Booth Award for Lifetime Achievement in Narrative Studies by the International Society for the Study of Narrative Thought. Todorov's greatest contribution to literary theory was his defining of the fantastic uncanny, and the fantastic marvelous. Todorov defines the fantastic as being any event that happens in our world that seems to be supernatural. Upon the occurrence of the event, we must decide if the event was an illusion or whether it is real and has actually taken place. Todorov uses Alvaro from Jacques Cazotte's La Diable Amoureuse as an example of a fantastic event. Alvaro must decide whether the woman he is in love with is truly a woman or if she is the devil. Upon choosing whether the event was real or imaginary, Todorov says that we enter into the genres of uncanny and marvelous. In the fantastic uncanny, the event that occurs is actually an illusion of some sort. The laws of reality remain intact and also provide a rational explanation for the fantastic event. Todorov gives examples of dreams, drugs, illusions of the senses, madness, etc. as things that could explain a fantastic supernatural event. In the fantastic marvelous, the supernatural event that occurs has actually taken place and therefore the laws of reality have to be changed to explain the event. Only if the implied reader cannot opt for one or the other possibility is the text purely fantastic. Aside from his work in literary theory, Todorov has also published studies of philosophy. He wrote Frail Happiness about the writings of Jean-Jacques Rousseau. He focuses on Rousseau's ideas of attaining human happiness and how we can live in modern times. In one of his major works, Facing the Extreme, Todorov asks whether it is true the Nazi concentration camps and the Soviet gulags revealed that in extreme situations all traces of the moral life evaporate as men become beasts locked in a merciless struggle for survival. That opinion is commonplace of popularized accounts of the camps, and also appears in accounts of survivors themselves. Primo Levi, quoted in Todorov, writes that camp life is a continuous war of everyone against everyone. To survive, all dignity and conscience had to be sacrificed and everyone is alone. Reports from Gulag survivors are similar. However, in his reading of actual survivor testimonies, Todorov says the picture is not that bleak, that there are many examples of inmates helping each other and showing compassion in human relationships despite the inhumane conditions and terror. Survivors point out that survival always depended on the help of others. He concludes that life in the camps and gulag did not follow the law of the jungle and that the counter-examples are numerous, even in Levi's work. Bibliography, books, Introduction à la littérature copyright Raja Fantastique, translated by Richard Howard as The Fantastic, A Structural Approach to a Literary Genre in 1973, Conquest of America, The Question of the Other, translated from the French by Richard Howard. Mikhail Bakhtin, The Dialogical Principle, translated by Lade Godzich. On Human Diversity, Nationalism, Racism, and Exoticism in French Thought, translated by Catherine Porter. French Tragedy, Scenes of Civil War, Summer 1944, translated by Mary Bird Kelly. Translation edited and annotated by Richard J. Golson. Voices from the Gulag, Life and Death in Communist Bulgaria, Tzvetan Todorov. Translated by Robert Zaritsky. A Passion for Democracy, Benjamin Constant, translated by Alice Sebery. Facing the Extreme, Moral Life in the Concentration Camps, translated by Arthur Denner and Abigail Polak. Fragility of Goodness, Why Bulgaria's Jews Survived the Holocaust, a collection of texts with commentary by Tzvetan Todorov. Life in Common, an essay in general anthropology, translated by Catherine Golson and Lucy Golson. With a new afterword by the author. Frail Happiness, an essay on Rousseau, translated by John T. Scott and Robert D. Zaritsky. Imperfect Garden, The Legacy of Humanism, translated by Carol Kuzman. Hope and Memory, Lessons from the 20th Century, translated by David Bellows. New World Disorder, Reflections of a European, preface by Stanley Hoffman. Translated by Andrew Brown. In Defense of the Enlightenment, translated by Heela Walker. The Fear of Barbarians, Beyond the Clash of Civilizations, translated by Andrew Brown. Moros Cordos, Moros Origidos, translated by Zorida de Torres Burgos. Articles, Humanism, Libre Copyright Realisme et Esprit des Lumières, Entretien de Kerem Emile Bitar avec Tzvetan Todorov. Linol les Mers. June 2007. L'Esprit des Lumières a encore beaucoup à faire dans le monde d'aujourd'hui. Le Monde. March 4, 2006. In Search for Lost Crime, Tribunals, Apologies, Reparations, and the Search for Justice. The New Republic. January 26, 2001. See also, Fantastic, Genre Studies, Mikhail Bakhtin. References. External links, media related to Tzvetan Todorov at Wikimedia Commons, Tzvetan Todorov on the Enlightenment Today, a 19-minute interview on Philosophy Bites, the Tzvetan Todorov book interview with Tzvetan Todorov, a Euro. It is surprising to see so many walls erected in the midst of globalization. A Euro, Barcelona Metropolis, Num. 78, Spring 2010.